He was the kind of man who walked into a room and commanded attention without saying a word. Tall, sharp-suited, and impeccably groomed, his presence alone whispered stories of power and privilege. A self-made billionaire, he was known across continents, a titan of industry, a force in the business world, and a symbol of success to millions. But beneath the expensive tailored suits and the steel resolve, there was a secret he guarded with the ferocity of a lion protecting its pride. His name was Malik Dumas. Malik was not just rich, he was legendary. From humble beginnings in a struggling neighborhood, he had clawed his way to the top, defying odds, breaking barriers, and rewriting the narrative for black excellence. But wealth came with a price: loneliness, scrutiny, and the constant pressure to maintain a flawless image. In his private world, Malik craved something real, something that no amount of money could buy. And that's where she came in. Ava Monroe was everything Malik was not: free-spirited, wild, and untamed. She was a rising artist in the city, her paintings raw and filled with emotion, capturing pain, hope, and beauty in ways words could never express. Their worlds should have never collided, but fate had other plans. Their first meeting was electric, unexpected. At a gala celebrating black entrepreneurs and artists, Malik spotted her across the room, a splash of color in a sea of monochrome. Ava's laughter was magnetic, her eyes holding secrets that sparked something dormant inside Malik. What began as a simple conversation quickly spiraled into a secret affair, hidden from the world behind closed doors and whispered promises. They were both aware of the stakes: Malik's carefully curated empire, Ava's rising reputation, and a judgment that would inevitably come from those who could never understand. Their nights were stolen moments of passion and vulnerability, but the shadows grew longer with every secret kept. Malik's business empire was expanding, but so was the risk of exposure. Ava struggled between the allure of wealth and the authenticity of her art and soul. As the affair deepened, so did the cracks in Malik's perfect world. Betrayals, jealousies, and the looming threat of scandal threatened to unravel everything he had built. But Malik was a man who never backed down from a fight, not for his legacy, not for his name, and not for the woman who had become his weakness and his strength. The story of Malik and Ava is not just a tale of love and desire. It's a story of power, sacrifice, and the complex truths that lie beneath the glittering surface of wealth. This is the story you've never heard, the truth behind the headlines. Welcome to the affair of the rich black billionaire. Malik's days were battles fought in boardrooms, with cold eyes and sharp tongues testing his every move. But when night fell, the walls of his penthouse became a sanctuary, a place where the facade of power melted away, leaving only the man and the woman who challenged everything he thought he wanted. Ava was unpredictable. One moment, she was a calm in his storm, soft laughter, whispered dreams, the brush of her hand against his skin like a promise of freedom. The next, she was fire, fierce, untamed, refusing to be caged by Malik's world of rules and expectations. Their affair was a tightrope walk between ecstasy and danger. Each rendezvous was both a blessing and a curse, the thrill of stolen moments shadowed by the fear of discovery. Malik's closest allies warned him Ava was a risk. But the billionaire had never been one to listen to caution when it came to matters of the heart. Behind closed doors, Malik confessed things he never dared admit: the loneliness that haunted his success, the pressure to be perfect, the weight of expectations that threatened to crush him. Ava listened, her eyes filled with a mix of sympathy and defiance. She didn't want to save him. She wanted him to be real, to break free from a cage he'd built around himself. Yet, the world outside was unforgiving. Rumors began to swirl. The press smelled a story, and Malik's competitors waited like vultures, ready to pounce on any crack in his armor. Ava's art began to attract attention, too, her name whispered in galleries and circles Malik barely recognized. Their lives were on a collision course, and the fallout would be devastating. Malik's fiancée, a woman bred for high society and perfect appearances, sensed a shift. She was no fool. The sharp glint in her eyes told Malik that his secret was fragile and the endgame was near. For Malik, the choice was brutal: protect the empire he built or risk it all for the woman who made him feel alive. Every text, every call, every secret meeting was a gamble. The stakes were higher than either of them imagined. Friends turned into foes, alliances shattered, and the fragile illusion of control slipped through Malik's fingers. But Ava wasn't just a beautiful distraction. She was a force of nature, demanding Malik face the parts of himself he buried deep. She challenged his ideas of success, happiness, and what it meant to be truly free. Their affair was more than a scandal waiting to explode. It was a mirror reflecting truths neither of them wanted to see. The storm was coming, and Malik could feel it in his bones. Every smile he forced, every handshake in the boardroom, was a mask slipping further from his face. Ava had become the heartbeat he couldn't silence, a dangerous rhythm that both terrified and exhilarated him. Late one night, as rain hammered against the windows of his penthouse, Malik stared out at the cityscape, a sea of lights hiding secrets as dark as his own. Ava was waiting inside, her presence a fragile thread holding him together and threatening to unravel him all at once. She didn't ask questions about the woman he was supposed to marry or the empire he was supposed to protect. Instead, she challenged him to face his truth, the parts of himself that success and money couldn't fix. But Malik was a man built on control. Letting go was his greatest fear. Their affair had become a twisted dance. Passion mixed with regret, love tangled with betrayal. Ava's wild spirit clashed with Malik's relentless ambition, but neither could walk away. They were caught in a web of desire and destruction, each encounter peeling back layers of their carefully guarded lives. Word leaked. Whispers grew louder. Malik's fiancée began to confront him, her elegance replaced by cold fury. Friends turned into silent observers, waiting for the scandal to explode. Malik's empire was at risk, not just from business rivals, but from the one person who knew his secrets best. Ava found herself torn between the allure of Malik's world and the freedom she cherished. The art that once saved her was now a battleground for her soul. Could she be the muse that changed a billionaire's life, or was she just a pawn in a game far bigger than either of them? The tension reached a breaking point when Malik was forced to choose: the woman who offered him real love, messy and imperfect, or the world he had built with blood, sweat, and sacrifice. It was a choice no man in his position wanted to face, but one that would define his future. In that moment, the truth came crashing down. The affair was no longer just a secret whispered in the shadows. It was a reckoning that would shake everything Malik thought he knew about power, loyalty, and the price of desire. Malik's world was unraveling faster than it could contain. The whispers had turned into rumors, and the rumors were now headlines waiting to happen. His carefully guarded empire, built on years of relentless work, now stood on a knife's edge, vulnerable, exposed, and dangerously close to collapse. Ava felt the weight of it all pressing down on her. The woman who had once been a muse was now a target. Galleries she had once dreamed of exhibiting in suddenly hesitated. Sponsors pulled away, and her closest friends questioned her involvement with Malik. Was she sacrificing her identity for a man whose world was made of cold ambition? Their stolen moments grew desperate, charged with a mixture of fear and longing. Malik's fiancée made no effort to hide her intentions. She was ready to fight, not just for Malik's empire, but for the man he had promised to marry. The battle spilled out of boardrooms and into social circles, threatening to destroy every relationship Malik held dear. Malik wrestled with the consequences of his choices. Every call, every text from Ava was a reminder of the fragile line he walked. Could love survive in a world ruled by money, power, and public opinion? Or was it doomed from the start? One night, as tension reached a fever pitch, Malik and Ava faced the harshest truth. Their affair had become a battleground for survival. It wasn't just about desire anymore. It was about identity, sacrifice, and the price of freedom. Malik realized that to protect what he loved, he might have to lose everything else. But the question remained, was he ready to pay that price? The story of Malik and Ava is a raw, unfiltered look at the collision of power, passion, and the unrelenting pursuit of happiness. It's a story that reminds us, even those who seem invincible have secrets, fears, and a heart that beats for something real. The fallout was inevitable. Malik's empire, once untouchable, trembled under the weight of scandal. Board members whispered behind closed doors. Investors questioned their loyalty, and the media circled like sharks sensing blood in the water. The affair was no longer a secret. It was a public spectacle, tearing through the layers of Malik's carefully constructed world. Ava watched as her life spiraled out of control. Invitations stopped coming. Galleries distanced themselves, and friends she once trusted began to look at her with suspicion. The woman who had painted her soul on canvases was now fighting to hold onto her identity in a world that judged her for love and betrayal. Malik's fiancée unleashed a campaign not just of fury, but calculated destruction. She knew how to play the game, using influence, charm, and media to crush the threat Ava represented. But Malik was not a man to surrender easily. His empire was built on resilience, and his love for Ava, no matter how complicated, was undeniable. The nights grew longer, filled with heated arguments, desperate pleas, and moments of raw vulnerability. Malik was torn between two worlds, one of duty and expectation, the other of passion and freedom. The billionaire who had conquered boardrooms now faced his toughest challenge, choosing between legacy and love. In the quiet moments, away from prying eyes, Malik and Ava wondered if their love was enough to survive the storm. Could a billionaire and an artist bridge the gap between their worlds? Or was their affair destined to be a tragic tale of desire and loss? This story isn't just about an affair. It's about the cost of ambition, the complexity of love, and the courage it takes to fight for what truly matters, even when the whole world is against you. Malik's life had become a battlefield where every move was calculated, every word weighed. The media frenzy wasn't just about gossip. It was a war for his reputation, his power, and his soul. His allies began to question their loyalty, sensing the cracks beneath the billionaire's polished exterior. But Malik refused to fold. He was a man who had stared down adversity his entire life. And this was no different. The difference now was Ava, her presence a constant reminder that behind the armor was a man desperate for connection, for a love that money couldn't buy. Ava, too, was changing. The fearless artist began to understand the cost of being involved with a man like Malik. Her paintings grew darker, rawer, reflecting the pain and passion of their forbidden love. She fought to keep her voice, her art, and her heart intact while the world tried to silence her. Their affair was no longer just a secret or a scandal. It was a revolution against the expectations and judgments imposed by society. Malik and Ava became symbols of defiance, challenging the narrative that power and love couldn't coexist. But the deeper they went, the higher the stakes. Malik's fiancée was relentless, deploying every resource to dismantle Ava and reclaim her place. Friends became enemies. Trust was shattered, and the fragile bond between Malik and Ava was tested in ways they never imagined. In the quiet moments, Malik wondered if the man he was, powerful, invincible, untouchable, was enough for Ava. And Ava questioned if the love they shared could survive the relentless storm bearing down on them. This wasn't just a story about an affair. It was a raw, unfiltered look at the collision of ambition and emotion, of legacy and love. It's a reminder that behind every headline is a human heart fighting to be heard, to be loved, and to be free. The pressure was suffocating. Malik's empire was still standing, but the foundation beneath it cracked with every passing day. The relentless scrutiny had become unbearable. Cameras flashing outside his office, reporters digging into every detail of his personal life. His business associates whispered about instability, and deals once guaranteed began to slip through his fingers. Ava felt the weight too. The woman who once found solace in her art was now drowning in doubt and uncertainty. The love she had found with Malik was intoxicating, but it had come at a cost she hadn't fully grasped. She was no longer just a muse. She was a target, a symbol of rebellion, and a lightning rod for judgment. Their conversations grew rawer, filled with confessions and fears. Malik revealed the loneliness that success had brought him, the pressure to uphold an image that no longer felt like his own. Ava shared her dreams of freedom, of creating art untainted by scandal or expectation. They clung to each other in the chaos, but the outside world was unforgiving. Malik's fiancée escalated her campaign, using influence and power to isolate Ava. Friends betrayed them, and even Malik's closest allies began to question his judgment. In the end, Malik faced a choice that no amount of money or power could solve: to fight for a love that could destroy his legacy, or to sacrifice the woman who made him feel truly alive for the sake of everything he had built. The decision was brutal, heartbreaking, and raw. It was a moment that stripped away the veneer of power and revealed the man beneath, flawed, vulnerable, and human. Their story is not just about an affair. It's about the price of desire, the complexity of love, and the courage it takes to stand up against a world determined to tear you apart. In the aftermath, Malik and Ava faced a world that had changed around them. The headlines faded, but the impact lingered in every corner of their lives. Malik's empire was different now, scarred but alive, shaped by a man who had chosen love over convention. Ava's art blossomed in ways she never imagined, no longer defined by the shadows of the affair, but by the strength she found within herself. Together, they rewrote their story, not as Billionaire and Muse, but as two souls who dared to defy the odds. The scandal had taken everything, and yet given them something priceless. Truth, the raw, messy, beautiful truth of being human. Malik learned that real power was not measured in wealth or titles, but in vulnerability and the courage to stand in the light with all your flaws exposed. Their journey was a testament to the complexity of love in a world obsessed with perfection. It was a story of breaking free from expectations and choosing authenticity, no matter the cost. As they looked toward the future, Malik and Ava understood that their affair was more than a secret or scandal. It was a rebellion against the rules that tried to define them, and a celebration of a love that refused to be hidden. This story is a reminder that sometimes the greatest battles are fought not in boardrooms or public stages, but in the quiet spaces where hearts dare to speak their truth. Thank you for following this story. If you enjoyed it, please like my video and subscribe to my channel for more daily videos. Thanks.